Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another one of my videos in the channel of TCC. Here we have Arthur Lago. He got first place at ARG Texas, playing Orgel Tinkthang. The format was premium, and the deck name that he gave was Can I Get a No Guard with a Side of Salt? Well, without any further ado, here's Arthur with his deck profile.
Alright, what's up guys? So we're going to go over the main deck first, starting from grade 0 and going up. Our starter is going to be Lozenge Magus. I feel being able to just +1 off just riding going first. It just beats any Forerunner starter, in OTT at least. Until we get the effect tools, we'll most likely just keep running this, which is just a 10k V-Series heals. Then we're going to be running the 8, if we have no more, of the V-Series crits. Just because this deck relies on crits a little bit. So we need to run an extra crit count, and we can't run Psychic Bird because Siste shares the same name as the V-Series Psychic Bird. Our second best option is the Battle Sister one, which just basically is able to shuffle itself back in the deck. And that's really all we use it for. That's really all we really need to use it for. And rounding off the trigger is going to be the dropping Gs, just because 10k shield is the main reason why you run this. Otherwise, we'd be running extra crits. Starting off grade 1, it's going to be our ideal right target. It's going to be Circle Magus. First skill doesn't really matter, you're not going to use it too much. Second skill is when you're right on top of her, so when you're at grade 2, you counterblast 1 draw card. Once you start getting those Oracle abilities off and keeping your hand advantage throughout the game. +1 is never hard. Next grade 1 is going to be a G-Series card. First skill, it's the main skill you use it for, but it's not GB restricted. As long as you have Oracle, and you can use it throughout the game, so you're not going to have trouble having Oracle. At the end of boost, retire, draw a card. Lets you keep your Oracle and defensive cards on the defensive turns, as well as getting any extra key cards you might need. And then we're going to be running 2 Gemini. I just only run 2 because during the little playtesting I didn't see myself running low on Counterblast. So these honestly could be cut down, but if you feel like you need more Counterblast, you can always put them up to 3 to 4. And then 2 Farfel Magus, mainly because this is a 10k shield. The reason why I'm running this instead of Blackbird is just because Blackbird essentially just becomes a vanilla 5k after you place them down. And this can essentially be better than Psychic Bird in the sense that you can look at the top card. If it's a trigger, you can leave it on top and you'll always guarantee it. If it's not, you can filter your deck by putting whatever is that you reveal to the bottom of the deck. And it's honestly really good for getting stuff like Ultimate Strike cost or G-Guardians that you might need, anything. And last grade 1, we're going to be running only 3 PGs in this deck, since we're a Protect clan. Honestly, this is the best call. As long as you have Oracle GB1, at the end of your turn, if this is in the drop zone, you don't need a copy. You counterblast 1, add it to your hand, and then randomly discard a card. And then the main card in the deck, the card that everyone loves to hate, in premium only, is on place Counterblast 1 gets +6k. That way you can be able to hit intercept numbers. That way, if your opponent tries to intercept to block the Ichikishima turn, they can't because the tome ends up being too big. Continuous skill, when he attacks, your opponent cannot call normal units. So I'll explain that later once we get to the G zone, like that skill is very important. This is essentially our beat stick of the deck. A G-Series card. Show the rear guard on hit effect, counterblast, full blast 1. When the attack hits, draw 2, or you look at the top 2, add 1 to hand, discard 1, or put 1 in the bottom of the deck. And the main reason why you run it is our continuous GB2. Oracle, during your turn, this unit gets 1000 for each card in your hand. So since you're playing OTT, you're going to have generally a big hand, so this card's being Oracle, you're at least going to get +5k power, but you're more than likely going to get at least 7 to 8k, most likely more. So she's going to be hitting for big numbers. In our last grade 2s, counting at 11 grade 2s, 3 yellowish meat. You basically want her Magus. You just decked in and trigger stacking. Alright, moving on to grade 3. This is going to be your ideal ride target since this is a premium deck. It's going to be Imperial Daughter. Her skill is on place, that way you can get her on ride, counter blast 1 at the top 2, add 1 for 1 at the top, or soul. That way you plus 1 off the ride, technically plus 2, but you also get the protect marker, as well as being able to stride. If you end up going first, you can also always use her once per turn. So blast 1 gets something from 6k, so you can hit bigger numbers and have a more threatening turn 1 turn. Or first ride grade 3 turn. And then we're going to be running 3 CEO Amaterasu. The reason why we're not running 4 is just I wanted to make extra room for the last grade 3. I'm pretty sure you most likely know what it is. If you're going first, she has a good ride skill, like a top card. Mainly she's just going to be used as Stride Father or as a rear guard. And then our last grade 3, finishing off the main deck, is going to be Victorious Deer. The main reason why I wanted to cut CEO down was for this card is I could run 2. It makes you get those bigger numbers on Tom, that way you can avoid intercept guarding, and it also helps you stack your crits, that way if your opponent happens to be at 2 or 3, you can give Tom the crit, and then you're able to finish off the game. Alright, that was the main deck. And now to make most of that make sense, the G-Zone. So despite the new ruling, Seebreeze is still probably a necessity in every premium or GR deck. The only exception being Riviere, because they can get Chabrao to grade 3 while your opponent's still grade 1. But this essentially, if your opponent misses the grade 3 ride, you can still go into Seebreeze and punish them by stacking triggers of the top checkers as well as Imperial Daughter. So if you get multiple triggers on the triple drive, you run mostly crits, you're going to put yourself in a very favorable position. This is generally going to be our first try if we don't go into Seebreeze. Flip open anything, and it gets an on-hit skill, draw 2, discard 1. And also gives you the countercharge and soul charge. The countercharge is the main selling point of this card, as well as the being able to flip anything. The only other alternative for a first try really is this combo Susanoo. Well, the reason why I chose to use her instead, just because being able to flip anything frees up your G-Zone a lot for extra attacks or medicals that you might have. His GB3 is pretty good, but it's honestly, if you're going to summon GB3, that's pretty bad, because you honestly want to go into Ichikishima and other better cards. Honestly, a card you could possibly cut from the deck is the GB8. We're honestly in such a fast meta right now with premium that most games don't last her GB8, and her GB8 skill is pretty mediocre with the other stuff they have in the deck. You'll basically only use it for stacking the top 5 cards of your deck. And one of the most underrated cards in the G-Zone is Wakahirume. She's just so versatile. In almost every matchup, you can stack any trigger on top of your deck. If you're playing against blasters and they have a low hand, you can swing at them with an extra crit, make your rear guard bigger. If you're at higher damage, you can stack the heal on top and get the extra heal. If you want more draw to just extend your advantage, stack a draw trigger. This card is honestly so underrated. It's insane. And the card that everyone loves to hate, the key card in the deck, Ichikishima. So, if you don't know, funny interaction she has with Tom is her second skill, her GB3, flip any card placed up in your G-Zone, and for that turn, your opponent cannot call grade 0s or G Guardians to the Guardian Circle. So that stops their GB acceleration, kills off any deck that relies on getting GB, kills off Spike Brothers, kills off Gear Chronicle, stops Nibatama's Dominate G-Guard, stops Bermuda, stops Kagura completely, and it basically, since Tom makes it so he can't guard normal units, and she stops you from guarding with zeros and G-Guards, the only thing your opponent can do is intercept or use a protect marker to guard it. So basically the hardest matchup for this deck is still OTT, but I feel like Blaster still gets it on for its money just because of how aggro it is.
Any tips you might want to give? Now that you were talking about like the Blaster matchup and things like that.
Oh yeah. On the Blaster matchup, you're basically gonna honestly you always want to go first with the Blaster matchup, mainly because if they go first and they get that, if they're able to go with Tarna, since they can't stride, they're gonna abuse Tarna. So essentially, getting that extra Tarna, you just kind of, it makes the game very difficult for you. Those extra force markers on that Blaster Blade are gonna kill you. But say you go first, and once they ride a grade 3 second, they have to choose either, do I go Tarna and get those extra force markers, or do I go ahead and stride? So it puts them in a very unfavorable position, and if they draw Tarna, it's basically a dead card in their deck, in their hand. And honestly, I know this is probably the most expensive card in the deck, but I feel like it's a necessity of how fast the meta is. This won me as many games as Ichikishima. Ultima, against the mirror matchup, as well as against blasters, since it's such a fast matchup, you can get blasters when they're at their weakest after their alpha turn. Once they are usually only around 6 to 7 cards in hand, depending on how the game has been going, this card will kill them. Because your rear guards will get so big, since you have 10k triggers now, and you can just stack multiple crits. If you keep them at 2 to 3, this just spells game. It's what actually won me the final match of the final round of ARG. Alright, starting off with G guards. This is the main G guard and the other pricey card in the deck. The Amaterasu G guard. If you have basically Oracle, it gets plus 10k. So it's a free 25k shield. Also has the added bonus of one place, you soul charge one, which can give you that extra grade 3 and soul for the deer, as well as letting you look at the top card and putting it top or bottom, which is the same thing as Meme and Yellow Witch and Persevering Magus, which just gets your deck thinning, gets you to stack cards. You can, if you see that you have a trigger on top, you can damage check that trigger, and then just have a pretty good defensive turn. Other TG guard that I used was the Battle Sister one, Counter Blast one, Draw one's the main reason why it's there. I mainly just use it to block weaker attacks and just getting the +1 and generating the GBs so I can go into Ichikishima first stride. It's honestly a good card, just a one of. This card I was never used throughout the whole tournament. I would probably cut it. Honestly, I don't even know what it does. I didn't bother reading it because I just never really used it. And then this is a funny little card. It's essentially the same reason as Amaterasu. Basically, when you place it, you discard a card, draw a card. It helps you with hand fixing. That way you can get your ultimate stride cost or any other card you might need in the deck. So you have too many 3s in your hand, you can discard a 3 and potentially get guard for the attack that you need. And our last G Guardian was basically the reason why we're running this as our first stride, just to open up the extra space for extra text. This is basically just, in my opinion, the best meta call. If you generate enough hand in your deck that you can run this, I feel like you should. So one place you can discard a card, and then it gets plus 5k for each 2 cards in your deck, in your opponent's hand. So against OTT being a very popular deck, they're gonna have a big enough hand, so this card's at least getting 15 to 20k extra shield, so it can block a lot of attacks. And it honestly came up in the matchup I didn't think it would come up in, Blasters. Basically, I got critted early in the game, and I was basically out of tempo, and he had a big hand, and I knew and this actually helped me survive a Blaster Blade turn, because I had just the extra power, and I was able to finish him off with Ultima, because he was out low damage and I had to. Alright. Changes I would make to the deck. For the main deck, the only card that really change would be Gemini and Persevering Magus. would add, and that's just mainly because I never had a problem with counterblast, so I only use Gemini maybe once or twice. Or if you feel like you need more counterblast for whatever reason, you could then do another Gemini. But I definitely think one of each in the deck is definitely a must.
Any changes for the extra deck?
Yeah, like I said, there were some cards that just weren't used, like Amaterasu GBA and the Lozenge Magus G-Guard. Honestly, I'll just replace this for another Amaterasu G-Guard. That way you can have 3, because this honestly is the best G-Guard they have. It deserves the price tag it has. And as far for this, I don't have the card, but I will change it to the other Kamu Susano Stride, the white one. If you go into GG Play and you search up Susano, it's going to be the only white one to GG3. Because it gains plus 5k and a crit, so it's just a free GB3, gets an extra crit. Honestly, if you don't want to add another G-Guard, you just want to put 5, you can add another 2 copies of Wakahirume, because she honestly is just extremely underrated. And I feel like if she didn't flip herself up, I would be running 3. But yeah, that's the only changes I'd make to the deck.
Alright, any shoutouts you might want to give?
Shout out to my locals. They're really friendly. I think they're honestly one of the best locals in Texas from the ones I went to. But we're really welcoming and everything. We have our YouTube channel that we're going to start getting more videos out and repolishing it, making it look all good. Cardfight Vanguard ATX, link will be down in the description. Shout out to all you Latin America players and people from around the world who travel to the States and Europe to compete in these Bushroad events and Vanguard events, period. Just because having to travel and that commitment for the game is honestly really honorable. Right. Shout out to the channel I'm on, CCG. Like, honestly, like, glad to be here and share my deck list.
No problem, man. Any other shout out you might want to give to friends or anyone else?
Shout out to the few people at my locals who are paying Evan that actually helped me to play Tesla Premium, because my locals is pretty stuck on standard for the moment, so no one really wants to do premium tournaments. So the little practice I have with this deck goes to show how pretty simple the deck is, honestly. Because with very little practice, some of the cards came in the day before the event, so some of the time that I was practicing was just flipping a complete deck. So honestly, this deck is really solid. You can honestly pick it up, and after playing 1 or 2 or 3 times with it, you kind of get the hang of it, and you'll be able to go to like an event and be perfectly fine.
Oh wow! All right. So guys, this is gonna wrap up the this video for today. I want to thank again Arthur for taking time out of his day to do this deck profile for you guys. Other than that, Arthur, I want to formally thank you again for allowing me to do this deck profile.
Yeah, no problem.
Alright, so other than that, guys, it's been TCC, and we're out. Peace!